Hello everyone, we are at the Cannes Lions Festival, a celebration of creativity, innovation, and marketing. Welcome to the Stagwell Speaker Lounge, where industry leaders go right from the main stage into the studio. Stagwell is the challenger marketing network built to transform marketing and has created this experience so you can get a behind-the-scenes view of this amazing event. I'm Robyn Freye, Chief Growth Officer of Stagwell, and I'm so excited to be joined today by Don McGuire, the Global Chief Marketing Officer of Qualcomm, and Mark Penn, CEO of Stagwell. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
So Don, I'm going to start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about your role and kind of what you're doing at Qualcomm?
Sure. I am a freshman pandemic CMO. I became CMO, ascended the position in 21. And so it's been, it's been really the dream job of my career, and it's been a fun ride so far. But I actually run marketing for the entire company worldwide, across all disciplines. It's like I said, we're in a really exciting time for the company, and the opportunities that are ahead of us are both exciting and challenging, which makes my position and my team's work that much more important.
Awesome. How is Qualcomm thinking of connectivity in the context of emerging technology?
Connectivity is sort of in our blood.
Yeah.
It's in our DNA. We bleed connectivity, and it's really sort of how we started, and the foundation of all the other technology we've invented on top of that. But if you think about it in kind of modern terms or now terms, it's really the foundational layer that's going to enable digital transformation and the reinvention of entire industries and product categories, and really municipalities and really society, with the 5G sort of transition that's happened starting in 2018, and now we're sort of coming out of the first third of that, but there's a long way to go. And then eventually, obviously, with that next transition, maybe 8 to 12 years from now into 6G, it's really going to lay the groundwork for modern digital society. A lot of people forget about that. They don't think about the nuts and bolts, but it's really going to be which everything else sits on top of, including things like the Metaverse, or autonomous vehicles, or whatever that might be. So that's how we think about connectivity today.
Yeah. And it's really interesting, we were chatting before about this, but Qualcomm, kind of to the public, is usually known for mobile, right?
Yes.
And you do so much more than just mobile, and especially with the Metaverse and Web3 and where all of that's going in autonomous driving. Can you talk a little bit about that evolution from mobile to where we are now?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the last 5 years, ever since I've been at the company, really, our diversification started to happen. And historically, yes, we've sort of been known for kind of making the internet possible in your pocket.
Yep.
Right? By turning, sedimentary devices that maybe played music and were connected to Wi-Fi into something that could, deliver the world to you in the palm of your hand, wherever you are and anytime and anywhere. But we've taken that core of technology in the invention that we've created, in creating a little chip that fits on the tip of your finger. And those platforms now have proliferated. Mobile technology has proliferated into other product categories. So the fact that you can do low power, high performance compute and hyper fast, high bandwidth, and low latency connectivity together in a tiny chip, and then put that into other really amazing products, is really where our growth opportunity has expanded and really taken off, whether it's automotive, whether it's in new nascent but growing categories like XR, across the wearable ecosystem, in this IoT Next market that's just starting to emerge, whether it's with industrial or consumer IoT. There's just an endless amount of opportunities where our roadmap is so relevant. So it's an exciting time.
Yeah. And Mark, you were the former Chief Strategy Officer of Microsoft, which obviously is a tech-forward company too. What do you think is the most transformative technology over the last decade?
Well, it's not the PC.
I would agree with you.
Actually, it was interesting. It's hard to say over the last decade or the last 20 years, but clearly mobility. I remember when I was working with Paul Otellini, as CEO of Intel, in the early days, he took the iPhone out of his pocket and he said, "This is the most transformative device of our lifetime." And I think there's no question that the last 10 years, the fact that people consult their mobile device an average of 237 times a day
Yep.
shows you the extent to which I think mobility has really dominated a society and technology. So I think there's going to be amazing enhancements, but the fact that it's been so integrated into everyday life on a universal basis is the fundamental change, I think, that we see based on technology.
And Don, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, the mobile revolution really has been the biggest transformative shift, I think, for society. And it really started with, I think, that transition from 3G to 4G. Because 4G really enabled the shared economy,
Yep.
right? Uber, DoorDash, right? Being able to go to your phone and actually deal with your digital life or your life in general. So that was massively transformative. And now I think what we're kind of seeing is the start of those smartphone-like experiences extending out into other parts of your life, like the car.
Yep.
For example, cars are just becoming big smartphones on wheels. There's not a more mobile experience than driving.
Yeah.
So you're actually going somewhere. So we're seeing that proliferate into things like cars and the whole stack of where automotive is headed, and the transformation of the automotive industry is just astounding. So that's a really, really meaty topic. But then this whole idea of new platforms,
Yep.
senses of reality, those are exciting. I think the biggest buzzword still, even at Cannes, and has been for the past year in circles, is the Metaverse. Or
Yep.
the idea of what the Metaverse is. I think I had 17 conversations yesterday alone about
The Metaverse.
with individuals and groups. So, now we're embarking upon new platforms of reality, transformative industries like automotive.
Yep.
It's crazy what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, so I met my first CMO here at Cannes, Chief Metaverse Officer.
I've heard that title. I'm like, that's a new meaning for CMO. It's Chief Metaverse Officer.
Well, it's interesting because, I participated in a debate at the Oxford Union last week, actually, on the metaverse. And it was really quite surprising because there was a serious undertone among young people that tech companies are not to be trusted with the metaverse. That in fact, that a lot of even what's going on now with the internet maybe has gone wrong. They were concerned about
Social media.
privacy,
Yeah.
manipulation, big tech owning everything. I was really quite surprised. I haven't seen that kind of real antagonism or questioning of the tech companies. So it's going to be, I think, very important as we move into kind of whether it's Web3 or the metaverse, or even more augmented reality, that we convince people that tech has learned from the issues that emerged in the last 5 years.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just came from Collision
Yep.
in Toronto and I facilitated a roundtable around this very topic, and the antagonism was in the air, and the biggest conversation that we had was about governance. Right? Who's in charge?
Yep.
Who gets to make the rules? Is it community driven, like Reddit and Discord? Right? Is it big government? Does the brand get to then set the rules, or is it big tech? And there's a lot of confusion, a lot of angst around that. So there's a lot to be figured out with this whole idea called the metaverse. That I think it's great to have it as a buzzword. And by the way, the experimentation that's going on is exciting. What some brands are doing to dip their toe in the pool, so to speak, is exciting. But we are a long way from a scalable sort of mass adoption
Yep.
of this idea and the different forms it's going to take in these layers of reality. There's a lot to be figured out. That's
Yeah.
for sure. So I don't blame people for having this angst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At Stagwell, we're kind of taking a step towards the metaverse because we're creating augmented reality experiences for stadiums, and we're unveiling kind of mid-July, kind of the first test of that in the Minnesota Twins, so that people don't have glasses yet. I mean, that will be the perfect
We'll help
one.
out with that.
I hope so. And we when I was at Microsoft, we had the HoloLens, but it was way too clunky for people and really for
Mainly
industrial.
enterprise, yeah.
It really was for enterprise. Although when we would go over, we'd check it out. We'd all walk on the moon. So I don't know. But I think that we're interestingly, this will create an augmented reality experience within a stadium where each person has a different perspective and can in fact play games against 50,000 other people.
Yeah.
So I think you have to take steps. You need 5G. You need then first kind of, I think, phone experiences that people are comfortable with, and then I think a subset will use glasses or other devices. I think when we have augmented reality glasses, that will genuinely be a next step. I think virtual reality glasses are still going to be a little bit more of a specialty item, although I have seen the concerts actually being, the first virtual experience, a virtual reality experience that I think actually kind of equals or maybe even exceeds being there in person.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've dove into that pool too as well from an experiential standpoint. We're doing stadium stuff as well. Of course, we have Snapdragon Stadium,
Yep.
which is opening in September
Yep.
in San Diego. So we have like 4 or 5 AR experiences that we're delivering with our partners and with SDSU. So that'll be exciting. To your point, playing games, primarily using the phone as the primary device today. We do believe glasses will be a huge part of the device ecosystem that will be the entry point into Metaverse-like experiences, whether it's multi-layered reality, augmented plus virtual or mixed, or just making your in real life experience that much better. And then on the virtual side, we have a global partnership with Live Nation, and so we've been doing a lot of experimentation around this idea of concert experiences and reimagining the live music experience for people that are not only in the room or in the hall or in the concert hall or in the stadium or in the festival, whatever, but also for people who can't get there, right? What does their virtual ticket look like, and how do they experience that same music event, even if they're not there physically? So lots of great experiment things going on. As a brand and as a company, we're doing the same thing as Coca-Cola and these others, and we're going out there and trying things. And then as the technology company that's going to enable a lot of this stuff to actually be able to happen, we're working really, really hard on that as well with a massive ecosystem of partners. So
Yeah. And what does this all mean for marketing?
it's interesting. I mean, I think personally, and Mark, please, your wisdom and expertise would be great here. Is it's going to, first of all, allow marketers to, if they are digital by default marketers, right, then it's going to open up a whole new level of opportunities. But you have to know what you're getting yourself into.
Yep.
Right? We talked about governance. We talked about rules of engagement, and you can't just go out if it's really about protecting your brand and nurturing your brand and with the right audiences. You really have to know what you're getting yourself into, and then charting that path forward. But it does open up a whole new world of opportunities on how to connect with your audience in a very compelling and very unique ways, because the separation of digital and physical, or the merging of digital and physical, creates huge opportunities, right, for everybody, both from a consumer but also from a B2B perspective, I think.
Well, I think my old boss, Satya, said recently, every company will become a digital company. And I think that we've been saying at Stagwell, every company will become a digital marketing company. And so I think that process of transformation, I think, is really something that's going on. If you weren't digital and you saw in the pandemic, and that really means kind of understanding your data first and having a way of reaching people and retargeting the experiences, and then doing the creative platform based on the best ways to really reach people and the best new experiences. I mean, I always say the best digital ad has yet to be created. That I think that we have, I don't think there'll be a better TV ad than we've created, but most digital ads are horrible, actually. And I think we're going to get there. I think as you really point out, we've lacked a true medium to really affect people emotionally in the same way so far, and an easy a basis, and I think that we really will develop that. So I think the best of marketing is in many ways yet to come.
Yeah, I can agree more.
Is there a brand that you think is close to the best of marketing in this new digital world, or a brand that you admire leading the pack?
It's a dangerous thing at con,
I know.
It is.
Gotta ask
Can't
it.
play favorites. I mean, I don't I don't know if it's just really about digital first or not, but I think some of the things that I've enjoyed seeing and that pleasantly surprised me from a campaign perspective more recently. 2 examples I'll give you. One is, I'm going to give a shout out to my buddy Deborah Wall at GM,
Yep.
who I just did a collision fireside chat with, I thought the Silverado Sopranos ad that ran, I really thought the Sopranos was coming back. I was so excited. Meadows going to run the family. It's going to be amazing. I didn't know it was just an ad for the Silverado. So I thought that was actually really, really well done. And it was a surprise and delight moment for me, just as a consumer, but also as a marketer. And then the second example is Salesforce.
Yes.
The juxtaposition of Team Earth, I thought, in playing off that everyone's going to space, right, and looking up, and why don't we look down here because there's some stuff going on.
Yeah.
Again, I thought a really nice insight, and a really nice moment. So shout out to Sarah Franklin and the team for putting together Team Earth, because I thought that was actually really good as well.
Yeah, no, I think here at Con, I think we're very optimistic about our dinosaur.
Yep.
Right, and Anomalies dinosaur that says, hey, I had an asteroid. What's your excuse?
Yeah.
That's really fun.
Yeah, well, for our work for the United Nations. Yes, it's beautiful. Okay, so I have one last question for the both of you, and we're asking everyone the same question that came through the content studio. If I had known then what I know now, what's the best lesson you've learned in your career?
Do you want to start?
Sure. I don't know. I try to apply really in creating Stagwell, like learning on the basis of kind of 40 years in marketing and advertising and public relations and at a tech company, and to build on all that experience. So, the first thing when you're a young person starting out, the problem is you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So it's only like so many years later, and I thought I'd been privileged in creating Stagwell to take the knowledge that I built up and really in the last 6 years create something that is of the moment. And so all of it is based on what I didn't know then, because I could never have done that. I did an amazing service, but we never borrowed money or used capital or any of that. We were 100% organic ourselves, and today we're building teams of people working together, right? And that's something I could never have done in my 20s.
That's great. So I have I have a general sort of lesson learned, and it came from one of my mentors, and she sat me down during a performance review one year and said, because I'm a very results-oriented person. Yep. So she said, Don, what you do is amazing, but how you do it is almost just as important. And the theme and the meaning behind that was, you can get great results, but if you leave a path of scorched earth in its wake, that actually takes away from those results. And so you focus on the how you do stuff as well as the what you're going to do. And wrapped into that is a lot of stuff, right? Empathy and relationships and collaboration. And I learned a lot from that, because sometimes you get focused, you get laser focused on the end goal, and you forget about the things that are around that and the steps that you need to take to get there, and that there are people involved, and there are personalities and relationships and things like that. So the how you do things is as important as the what you do, was one of the biggest lessons I've learned in my career.
Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Sure.
Wonderful, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much for joining us in the content studio here at Stagwell and at the Cannes Lions Festival. You can find this recording on YouTube and Twitter, as well as our LinkedIn channels. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.